Good day, future educators. Welcome to Chapter 2, Leveling Off, Gender and Sexuality. Today, we embark on a critical exploration of concepts that shape identities, societies, and classrooms. Our goal is to distinguish between sex, gender, and sexuality, while examining how socialization and stereotypes influence lived experiences. We will also unpack SOGIE, sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression, and its significance in education. These discussions are not just academic, they are essential for your future roles as inclusive, socially aware teachers. By the end of this lesson, you will achieve 4 key competencies essential for your development as educators. First, you will be able to clearly differentiate between gender and sexuality, understanding them as distinct yet interconnected aspects of identity. Second, you will explain the process of gender socialization, how societal norms and expectations shape our understanding of masculinity and femininity from childhood through adulthood. Third, you will identify common gender stereotypes and analyze their real-world consequences in educational settings and beyond. Finally, you will confidently discuss sexual orientation and gender identity expression, SOGIE, gaining the language and conceptual framework needed to create inclusive learning environments for all students regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity. Sex is traditionally classified based on 3 biological factors: chromosomes, XX for female, XY for male, or intersex variations like XXY, genital anatomy, and hormone levels. However, biological sex exists on a spectrum, with some individuals born with intersex traits that don't fit binary classifications. The Philippine Supreme Court's ruling in Republic v. Cagandahan challenged rigid definitions of sex. Jennifer Cagandahan, assigned female at birth, had congenital adrenal hyperplasia, CAH, a condition causing her body to produce excess androgens, leading to male physical development, e.g., deepened voice, facial hair. Identifying as male, Cagandahan sought to legally change his name and sex marker to Jeff and male. The Supreme Court's ruling in Republic v. Cagandahan established several groundbreaking legal principles regarding biological sex and identity. First, it recognized that biological sex is not strictly binary, particularly for intersex individuals. Second, the court affirmed that self-identification, when supported by medical evidence of hormonal and anatomical changes, constitutes valid grounds for legal gender recognition. Third, this decision created an important precedent protecting intersex individuals' rights to align their legal identity with their biological and psychological reality. These legal principles carry profound implications for gender and society. They demonstrate that human sex exists on a spectrum beyond simple XX/XY classifications. That legal systems can and should evolve with scientific understanding of sex diversity, and that personal identity deserves respect when corroborated by both medical evidence and lived experience. The case thus represents a significant step toward recognizing gender complexity in Philippine jurisprudence. Gender refers to culturally constructed roles and behaviors assigned to perceived sexes. West Zimmerman's Doing Gender, 1987, argues gender isn't what we are, but what we do in everyday interactions, from speech patterns to clothing choices. Their ethnomethodological approach reveals how people constantly account for their gender in social situations. Judith Butler's Gender Performativity, 1990, extends this, showing how repeated gendered acts, like mannerisms or occupations, create the illusion that gender is natural and binary. These theories expose how society polices gender. When teachers compliment girls for neat handwriting but boys for bold ideas, or when parents discourage sons from crying, they reinforce performative norms. Even language like tomboy or effeminate reveals our cultural scripts. The consequence? A system where deviation from gendered expectations leads to stigma, while compliance maintains unequal power structures. For educators, this means recognizing that classrooms are active gender workshops. Simple actions like rotating leadership roles or discussing historical figures who defied gender norms can help students see gender as expansive rather than fixed. While sex refers to biological attributes, chromosomes, anatomy, gender encompasses the social roles, behaviors, and identities a culture assigns. For cisgender individuals, their gender identity aligns with their birth-assigned sex. However, many experience dissonance. Transgender people live as genders differing from their assigned sex. A person designated male at birth may identify and live as a woman, demonstrating how gender exists independently of biology. Intersex individuals, like Jennifer/Jeff Kagandahan, are born with sex characteristics, chromosomal, hormonal, anatomical, that don't fit binary male/female categories. Their existence proves biological sex itself isn't strictly binary, complicating rigid sex-gender linkages. These realities show gender isn't biologically determined but socially negotiated. Recognizing this distinction is crucial for inclusive policies, from healthcare to education, that respect diverse identities. Sexuality encompasses one's capacity for attraction to others. It exists on a diverse spectrum: heterosexuality, opposite gender attraction, homosexuality, same gender, bisexuality, multiple genders, asexuality, no attraction, and pansexuality, attraction regardless of gender. Pop culture reflects this diversity. Lady Gaga's openness about her bisexuality challenges stereotypes, while Elliot Page's journey as a transgender queer person highlights how gender identity and sexuality intersect. What is gender socialization? It's the process by which individuals learn gender roles through. Bandura's social learning theory explains how children acquire gender roles through observation, imitation, and reinforcement. When a girl is praised for playing with dolls or a boy scolded for crying, they learn society's expectations. These repeated interactions, modeled by parents, teachers, and media, embed gendered behaviors as natural, perpetuating stereotypes across generations. Goffman's performance theory frames gender as a series of scripted acts maintained through daily interactions. From speech patterns to clothing choices, individuals unconsciously perform gender to fit cultural norms. A boy acting tough or a girl being polite reinforces binary roles, proving gender is not innate but a socially constructed display. Through constant reinforcement, societal expectations evolve from external rules to internalized self-regulation. Children initially follow gender roles due to rewards/punishments, e.g., praise for ladylike behavior, but eventually police themselves unconsciously. A teen abandoning sports they enjoy because they're for boys demonstrates this internalization. The external message, sports equals masculine, has become self-enforced, restricting authentic interests. This shows how socialization limits personal freedom long after external pressures fade. Gender stereotypes are rigid beliefs about appropriate traits for men/women, e.g., men equals logical, women equals emotional. These manifest when girls are discouraged from STEM or boys from arts. Such biases limit aspirations and fuel mental health struggles by pressuring conformity over authenticity. Families, schools, media, and religion systematically perpetuate gender stereotypes through daily practices. Parents may assign gendered chores, teachers might favor boys in math class, commercials depict women as caregivers, and religious doctrines often enforce traditional roles, collectively normalizing unequal expectations across generations. SOGIE encompasses sexual orientation, attraction, gay/straight/bisexual, gender identity, inner sense of self, woman/man/non-binary, and expression, external presentation, clothing/behavior. This framework validates diverse LGBTQIA identities, recognizing that attraction, identity, and expression exist beyond binary norms. The SOGIE Equality Bill, led by Senator Risa Hontiveros, aims to prohibit discrimination based on sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression in key areas like education, employment, and healthcare. It also proposes penalties for harassment or exclusion targeting LGBTQIA individuals. This legislation seeks to ensure equal treatment, not special privileges, for marginalized communities. Critics, often religious groups, oppose the bill, falsely claiming it encourages same-sex marriage or grants special rights. These arguments stem from misinformation, as the bill simply guarantees equal protection. As of 2024, the bill has passed the House of Representatives but remains stalled in the Senate, reflecting ongoing societal debates about LGBTQIA rights in the Philippines. Patriarchy systematically privileges men, leading gender studies to initially focus on women's oppression. However, it now examines how rigid gender norms harm everyone. Women face pay gaps and harassment, gay/trans individuals endure violence, and men suffer from emotional suppression. These varied impacts highlight patriarchy's pervasive reach. Intersectionality reveals compounded oppression. Women of color, LGBTQIA women, and disabled women face overlapping biases. For instance, a queer woman in Mindanao confronts both misogyny and homophobia, worsening her marginalization. This reflects societal clashes between traditional norms and modern equality movements. Gender is not just a topic to study but a reality we live and must transform. Understanding gender and sexuality is key to building inclusive, equitable societies. Let's take this knowledge beyond the classroom and become advocates of positive change. Thank you for listening and reflecting today.